So we're still recovering from what was a historic night in the Champions League this week, where Barcelona overturned a 4-0 deficit to go on and qualify and win 6-1. And it posed an interesting conversation between myself, Jason, and anyone who's willing to listen to us, whether PSG choked or Barcelona just basically had a remarkable comeback in one of the greatest in history. And I think it's a little bit of both. And I think there's definitely an argument to be made that PSG choked, tried to sit back for the majority of the game, couldn't handle the pressure. That's why they conceded 2 minutes in. But Barcelona were quality enough to go and win. But this has been somewhat of a trend, Jason. Super Bowl trend, NBA Finals trend.
Another sport which you adore.
Baseball
You watched
trend.
it too.
I did watch it, World Series. So we're gonna have a conversation, I think, on whether or not these were great comebacks or whether or not they were remarkable chokes.
Well, it's a game of choke or comeback. For once, could you take part in Casual Friday?
I don't know. I just felt like today.
Do you own? Do you own a T-shirt?
The vest.
Do you go to the gym like that?
I came in yesterday. Great story. I saw Jason in the gym. And it just so happens that Jason thinks I look completely different when I'm not wearing my usual work get-up. So I had a T-shirt on and jogging bottoms, as I call them, or sweatpants. And I was right next to him at the water fountain. And I swear to God, he was 3 seconds away from giving me the casual douchey head nod, as if he just thought a guy was just trying to acknowledge him. I was right there, and I started laughing, and you went like this. You went, and then I swear you were just you were so close to just going,
"Oh, it's Francis,"
and then you went. And so it was me. So
I have music blasting in my ears.
Yeah, you play a lot of Hannah Montana in the gym.
I do. Look, at the gym, like outside the gym, J. Cole, Chance the Rapper. Inside the gym, the best of both worlds. It's the song from Hannah Montana. Francis, I did a poll, which is, as many would call it, empirical evidence and data. It's not, because it's only our audience. So for TYT Sports today, the biggest choke, we have PSG, Warriors, Indians, or Falcons. And 45% said PSG. I think a little bit of that is recency bias.
Yeah, I agree.
Just because it did just happen. However, Warriors 28%, Falcons 23%, and just like our baseball audience, 4% for the Indians. Just about
That's amazing.
The 10 people who were like, it was probably the Indians.
But there's one thing you can't deny, is that all of these events set the social media sphere into just frenzy. I think Barcelona, this is the bad thing, is like people are tweeting out, I'm going to just clarify, there's never a good time to reuse the Pray for Paris hashtag.
Whoa.
When they were
use it?
using that as a means to so we're not including that, and I'm going to use this as a lesson. No, that's not all right. But there was some great memes, and it was sad because International Women's Day was trending. It was the #1 trending thing, and then all of a sudden, I looked on my feed, and Barca was the #1 trending tweet on my feed. It might not have been the same all around, but it was definitely up there. And I think you're right.
Yeah, PSG needed some women to bail them out in that game.
They needed anyone to bail them out. They needed Bale to bail them out. So
it's a good one.
Let's take a look at some of the memes we have. Well, I do like the memes.
There was 4 more that I just thought were so good, so I picked them. There's a lot of people likening them to the Warriors, so I feel the Warriors get a new logo every single time someone chokes. So these are the B elements, so we'll move through them relatively quickly, hopefully.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
It's a nice combination. Then number 2, we blew a 3-1 lead. We blew a 3-1 lead too. Hold my beer.
It's always my favorite meme.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then the third one, wait till we get to the best picture. PSG, oh wait, it's Barcelona. You guys, this is not a joke. It's probably the best part of that one. But here's why I think that PSG was the biggest choke out of all of them, even though there's a really good argument for the Falcons who threw away that game. Element number 8, the last one, shows is way worse than Golden State and the Falcons because they didn't even have to win the damn game. And that's a really good point.
Who's Cal Neubeck?
I don't know, but he deserves, obviously, a verification because...
huge American flag in the background, and he's making a very valid point.
He does. It's a very valid point. And it's true. Every other team had to actually win.
Yeah.
PSG could have just gone in, I don't know, maybe played a different game plan. People want us to still talk about this because we're going to be talking about it for years to come. So there was some really bad American sports takes. One of which I heard on radio recently, which was... Actually, one of the bad ones was, I can't believe I'm saying this because I have a huge admiration, Scott Van Pelt, who said it can't be considered one of the greatest comebacks, or it shouldn't be in the realm of that of what the Patriots did because it wasn't the final. And I think that's a bad take because PSG was an elite team that plays to the level of a team that could make the Champions League final. On top of that, you're already in the hole 4-0. You're coming into the game where you need to score on all fronts and not concede. So I think it was not necessarily the best take when you say, I think it's such a United States take. It's an American take of let's find ways to discredit what Barcelona did as one of the greatest comebacks of all time because it doesn't take place here. Lastly, and then I'm going to shut up for the rest of the clip, Barcelona and Real Madrid are playing El Clasico in Miami at the end of June.
Wow.
As a friendly.
That's going to be packed.
Awesome.
Absolute packed.
Awesome.
And they'll find other ways to justify why it's packed other than the fact that it's football. Nah, it was just a special 2-for-1 offer.
They'll be playing El Clasico in Miami about a month after they play in El Clasico in the Champions League final, hopefully.
And then that'll be a month after they play El Clasico actually in La Liga. In April, we could have El Clasico April, June, and
July,
June again.
End of June.
So here's my rebuttal to that, and I'm agreeing with you on that. It's very honourable of you as an American to sit here and justify this.
A lot.
It was a remarkable comeback, right? I'll first of all justify why people are disagreeing with me saying that it's not the greatest all time, like Liverpool's was greater.
Happened in the final.
Yeah, Liverpool's happened in the final. There's a reason why I felt that this one just pipped that and that of Manchester United's in 1999. Because I felt like they had the momentum and then they had everything sucked out of them, right? So they had to overcome an obstacle at the start. They had to score more than 4 goals against a team who are a fantastic football team. So that's immediately a hard task. Then they get a 3-0 lead and they get themselves back into it. Then the team that they're playing gets an away goal. That's immediately like another massive wall just built right in front of you. You're like, holy shit. Not like that wasn't hard enough. So I felt like they had the obstacles similar to what Liverpool had. They had 45 minutes to score 3 goals. What an achievement. Like, let's not take anything away from that. And then they win in penalties. But that was like, yeah, the adversity was right in front of them. I feel like Barcelona had so many different obstacles continuously placed in front of them to be like, all right, you think that's hard? Hold my beer. There's another one, right? So Cavani scores and it just immediately hits them. It could have easily been a sucker punch. Mid-game, they literally faced another obstacle in front, and then they go on and win it. And a last-minute goal to send them through is insane no matter what. And then to the point that you made, have the Patriots start 4 touchdowns down at the start of the game, regardless if it's a final. Have them start 4 touchdowns down, like, and try to come back, and then you say that that's not a great comeback, whether it's a final or whether it's anything.
Don't get me wrong. They said it wasn't a great comeback, but he says it can't be put in the same category as what happened because it wasn't a final. It wasn't the end-all, be-all. Which I understand his point. I just don't think it's a good one because it's just such. It's part of all the reason why there's no reason why American media should be downplaying at all what happened in the Champions League, especially because you can't make the argument for some of the American sports even being in the same category. Yeah. Actually, there's almost none of them. But in America, football reigns king, and then in every other country in the world, world football reigns king.
So the substance of the clip, of course, is it a choke? I think in this example, it clearly is both, right? As you mentioned it, PSG didn't have to win the game. They could have lost the game 3-0.
They could have lost it.
They could have lost it
5-1.
They could have lost it 6-2 and went through.
They could have lost it. I mean, at this rate, they could have lost it 16-14.
Yeah, they could have conceded 6 plus whatever goals as long as they were able to get an away goal or something like that and keep the deficit within what they had already set themselves up for a 4-0 lead. So yeah, that regardless of the way you look at it, you're a professional team. You're of the high standard. You spend ridiculous amounts of money. You have all the talent in the world. You've proven you can beat this team because you just did it, 4-0. And then you blow a 4-0 lead. That's a choke. That's you. And
I just wish. Oh, wait, they did technically blow a 3-1 lead because I mean, well, Barcelona's up 3-1. I just wish they were up 3-1 at some point. So it
would have continued on the meme. So, and also with that, you get yourself back into the game. And then you set yourself up again, and it's only you. You have it in your hands. You've learned you conceded 3 goals by sitting back. You score a goal by pushing forward and pushing the other team, and then you sit back again. That's a managerial error, and that's choking. That's not being able to handle the pressure.
I was saying before, I really do believe if they played that match like it was 0-0, like if it was just the first, I mean, obviously it's like the first leg, it went a lot better. They were up 4, they won 4-0. But I mean, like going into the game against Barca, if they weren't looking at it, they were up 4-0, and they played their same game plan. 0-0 instead of sitting back trying to, prevent 5 goals from finding the back of the net. I think that it would have been more of a, 3-1 and congratulations, you go through. Or it's Barcelona, so at any point 3-2, 3-0, it doesn't matter, you're going through. it's just the way they played. At some point, you got to think like, it's the same as the prevent defense in American football. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen time and time again. They play the prevent defense. They put all their fucking safeties and cornerbacks way back so they can't allow the Hail Mary, right? So unless you're Aaron Rodgers, you make that miracle happen. But I'm saying in general, like they just leave the middle of the field open. So they give all these players so much time. I guess it is really similar. All the receivers in this case and all the midfielders in world football, all this time to make runs and cuts. All this space. Don't give 3 of the most lethal players in the game a lot of space to create.
Yeah.
Suffocate them. Play because if you make the mistake, right? If you overextend on defense, that would have been better in 2 or 3 of the instances than just sitting back and allowing.
I mean, come on,
and show up. I mean, Neymar also torched him.
I get it.
He picked a really good game to play like the best football of his life.
But anything's going to probably come out better than a 6-1 lead. Like losing 6-1. That's just completely not calculating it right. But the one thing I did want to say is that in each of these games, what comes into it, not just the fact that it's them choking, but it's also decisions, simple decisions that could have been made. In the Falcons situation, just change your decision making.
Dan,
right?
how do you feel about the Falcons?
So those are the
losers.
That's the same thing. It's like there could be decisions that you could be making as a manager, as a coach, as players to prevent that situation from happening. So, and then you can't take anything away though from the brilliance that's on show from some of those players.
Yes.
It's not a coincidence that one of the best comebacks in American football history happened to be orchestrated by the best quarterback in American football history. And the same with Barcelona. You've got 3 of the best front players in the world at the moment.
Teaser for later clip. You just wait till Brock Osweiler leads the Browns to
a
Super Bowl championship.
Show me it.
Really quick, why baseball? And I know our audience doesn't love it when even I rip on baseball. There's no momentum in baseball. I truly believe that. It's to your next day's starting pitcher. That's why a comeback like down 3-1 in a baseball's instance is different than really basketball, where I do think momentum exists, in soccer, world football, where momentum exists, and especially in the NFL, where momentum is a serious existence, especially when your defense is just gassed on the field for so long. In baseball, it's your next day's starting pitcher. A new guy takes the mound, and you're seeing different stuff. So I think it's not necessarily a choke on the Indians' part. I think it's a comeback by the Cubs. I thought it was a pretty slight choke by the Golden State Warriors, but also look who was orchestrating the comeback.
Yes.
LeBron James and company, and Kyrie Irving's lethal scoring. Like, this is what makes sports great. I don't know how else. I don't think it's ever going to get better than what we've seen in the last year and a half.
Yeah,
I would hope it could. But like going back all the way, the calendar year, to almost this exact day, maybe a week or 2 away, when Jenkins hit the buzzer beater to win the Villanova the championship over UNC. And just look at every finals all the way till now.
You went from that
Nobody's safe.
To Leicester to
wait till we get the Champions League final. You just know if they're up 17-0, it's not safe.
Well, even the Champions League final last year gave us that comeback as well. They gave us Real Madrid able to orchestrate a comeback that no one expected again. So, man.
Please, Barca, you have to at least make a run to the final. You can't just get knocked out.
Well, I did say on another platform when I was on it that you'd be stupid to think that Barca are not the favourites now after that. Yeah, they've got weaknesses, but to be able to come back from that.
I'm going to death kiss Bayern by saying I think they look, I mean, I know Arsenal has their problems, but Bayern looks devastating, man.
But how much more, like, you cannot scare Barcelona now. You're like, oh, well, what happens if you go down 4-0 and then you have to bring it back?
Yeah, but Bayern's...
Do that.
First of all, Bayern's a machine, so they have no feelings. They can't get scared. They have no emotions.
There's nada. Nothing behind that show. All right, let us know what you
Bayern fans. You're definitely out of the tournament next time.
Yeah, the Jason Rubin curse. I love that. Someone actually commented, one of the first comments on our Barca video was the Jason Rubin curse.
Yeah, I got a lot of FUs because of what I did to PSG.
Well, you've done to every team. Swansea, Liverpool.
Hey, man, Swansea for like 2 weeks.
You've got a hit list.
Remember last year, Andre Ayew led the league in scoring. For like 3 weeks.
All right, let us know what you think. Were they great comebacks or were they chokes? Hit us in the comments. Francis_Maxwell, Twitter, Jason Rubin 91, Twitter. We have Instagrams as well. Yep, that other platform. A lot of photos, a lot of selfies with dogs.
Yeah.
Francis M. Maxwell, Jason Rubin 91 there. See you soon.